Sponsored in part by the Saskatchewan pork producers. Pick pork any meal, anytime. Naturally lean, packed with protein and versatile. For recipes, information, and more, visit saskpork.com or visit us on Facebook. #PickPork. You know, Harrison and I really enjoy cooking in the kitchen, and we want you to join us. So let's have some fun. Welcome to Cooked with Shaq. Hey everybody! Welcome to Cooked with Shaq. How you doing, Harrison? You doing okay? Guitar speaking for you? Everything's doing great for you?
I'm doing great.
Doing fine?
I'm doing fine.
So am I. You know what? We've got a very exciting show today because we've got one of Harrison's favorite food items that we're making tonight. Guess what it is?
Well, I have a lot of favorites, but my favorite would have to be meatloaf.
Yay!
Oh,
That's what we're making.
But my mom's meatloaf.
Now hold it now. I know that your mom makes really good meatloaf.
She does.
But this meatloaf is going to be a little bit out of the ordinary. What we're going to do tonight is we're doing something called a bacon cheeseburger meatloaf.
Whoa, whoa, you got bacon and cheese in there.
We got everything in
Mom
there.
doesn't put bacon and cheese.
Well, see, that's the thing. This is the Shaq meatloaf. Mom's meatloaf is good. Shaq's meatloaf is different. Okay, it's a little bit different.
Okay, we'll go with that for now.
All right.
Sure, it's different.
And we also like to thank Jordan Welburn. He's got a new CD called Reach Out, and you'll be hearing clips from the songs from the CD throughout the entire episode of Cooked with Shaq tonight. And check him out online and check him out in concert as well too. All right. Okay. Let's get to it. Now, first off, when we're doing meatloaf, there's lots of different ways to make meatloaf. Your mom makes it a certain way.
Yeah.
My mom makes it a certain way. But there's one thing that they all seem to do that I differ. What they seem to do is put in their raw onions. Like, I don't know if your mom, does your mom cook the onions first, or does she chop up the onions and put it in raw?
No, just chop it up, put it in raw. That's what I do as well.
Well,
yeah.
This is something that we're going to do that's a little bit different when you're making the Shaq meatloaf.
All right.
Is we're going to actually cook the onions first, because what it does is give a little bit more extra flavor when it comes to that caramelization of the onions. And what we've done is, since we're going to be putting bacon in the meatloaf as well, we've already cooked up our bacon, so we've got the bacon fat all ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to cut up the onion and stick it in the bacon fat with a little bit of garlic as well. So we're going to do I know this is your favorite part.
Oh, man.
But
I was going to do this right here, right beside me.
Now, we did get a couple of comments from people saying that, you know what, I don't have the Pull Start food processor. And so what do? Well, you can go and buy one if you want, but if you don't have one, they wanted me to go old school and show you how to cut an onion, how to dice up an onion. So I haven't done this for a while.
Yeah, do you remember how to do this?
Make sure you got a really sharp knife, okay? So we're going to do this.
You need some serious chopping music then.
Well, once we get it all ready to go here, so just give me a second. So we've got a regular onion, so one onion. All right, now we want to skin the onion. So what we want to do is we want to take it to just about goes all the way through, and then you start peeling it back. See that? See how that peels? And then do that on the other side of the onion. Go all the way down until you're just about all the way through, and then see how that peels. Now, instead of just the kind of papery part that comes off, you want to take off that first layer of onion, because then you don't have to worry about any of that papery stuff. So, okay, so there's part of it right there. And here comes the other part. See how that comes off so nice and easy? And there, you've got an onion perfectly skinned and ready to go. So let's get rid of all that. Now what you want to do is you want to cut the onion in half. Okay, so we're going old school here. No pull start chopping.
All right.
No pull start food processing. So now what you want to do to dice it, you want to take your knife, be very careful, because it's got to be a very sharp knife. I want you to cut a little bit like this, a little bit like that, so kind of all the way down. I want you to cut like little slices. Then on the top, take a look at this. Then on the top, you do the same thing. Go all the way, don't go all the way across, but go just about all the way across. And then, see, watch what happens. It's like magic. A diced onion, just like that. Nothing to it. See, look, diced onions, just like that. Keep on going. Okay, now you can give me some chopping music.
I am so impressed right now.
Is it?
I don't even know how to follow with that.
Look at that.
I don't even know what to play.
Perfectly chopped onions.
I've
just
never
like
actually
that.
seen something like this before, Chef.
Old school, you've seen it right here.
Wow.
That is the way to chop an onion. And you can keep going, see how that works nice. And now you get to the end, okay? The end is not quite, remember we didn't go all the way across? Right. So now what you do is you do the same thing, but you go across this way.
Huh.
And you do the exact same thing. Chop it up like this, chop all the way across, chop like that, and you're done.
You make it look so easy.
Done, done, done. And you don't even have to have a food processor. Okay, so we're
I'm
gonna
not
do
even
this
crying yet.
Isn't that something?
This is...
Wow. All right, we're gonna try this one more time.
All right.
Okay, like that, and like that. Oop, went a little bit too far there. That's okay, no problem. It's only an onion, nobody died, all right? And my fingers are still intact, that's all that matters. Okay, now you wanna do this. All right, cut your little slits there. Okay, now give me some chopping.
I'm gonna try to keep up with you, man.
Well, I'm not gonna go really fast.
You're on it today.
But I'm just gonna go nice, give me some nice motion music.
Okay, here we go.
Here we
go.
And keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. There, you know what? And that's good chopping music because I didn't even work up a sweat.
I'm not. I don't know. My eyes aren't stinging. They're not tearing. This is
wonderful.
I'm wondering if this is actually like an actual onion here. You might just be totally faking it. I don't know.
This is a real onion. So what we're gonna do now that we've got our pan nice and hot, it's got the bacon fat ready to go. Let's get all this into the pan.
That was smooth, man.
Go. Now what you want to do is just cook them till they're translucent. Okay? You don't want to be well. If they turn a little brown, that's fine.
I like that.
Yeah, that's right. You get a little caramelization going. Yeah, so you can do that if you want. What am I looking for here? Let's just go with this. All right. We're going to get that in. We're going to season it up just a little bit with some salt. And a little bit of pepper. And we also want to put a little bit of garlic in there too. So, we've got some minced garlic already. And let's put in a nice dollop, good teaspoon of minced garlic. Now, okay, all right, so we got our onions in. They're going to go translucent. We may brown them up just a little bit like that, and then we're going to get the meat. We got the burger that we're going to bring over, the hamburger, for our cheese, bacon, burger, meatloaf. Uncooked with Shaq. We're coming right back. Sponsored in part by the Saskatchewan pork producers. Pick pork any meal, anytime. Naturally lean, packed with protein and versatile. For recipes, information, and more, visit saskpork.com or visit us on Facebook. #PickPork. So don't be sad, 'cause Shaq's meatloaf ain't bad. Oh, nicely done.
Beautiful.
Nicely
Awesome.
done. And it's a perfect song by Meatloaf, although that's our version of the Meatloaf song.
Yes.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, but we're doing meatloaf tonight, so we had to have some kind of meatloaf song,
Right,
right?
yeah, let's keep it going.
One of Harrison's favorite foods is meatloaf.
Not one of my favorite artists, but one of my favorite foods.
Well, you know what? We're doing Shaq's version of meatloaf, and this is a bacon cheeseburger meatloaf is what we're doing. We've got the onions, and the garlic all sauteed and ready to go. We actually did decide to brown it a little bit because we have the bacon grease in there too. So we couldn't really not brown the onions because the bacon grease is a little bit brown already, right? So now we've got the browned onions in. So those are going to go in last because we're going to have those cool off just a little bit with the garlic. We've got the bacon. We have got some breadcrumbs. We have got some Worcester sauce, ketchup. We've got some egg and salt and some Italian seasoning, a little bit of milk, and of course a ton of cheese, okay? And we've got the magic meatloaf pan. Look at that.
All right, the famous meatloaf pan.
Isn't that a beauty, hey?
Right.
It's really cool because all the grease just goes right through those holes and you just pick the whole thing up after it's done. And
that is pretty cool, I gotta say.
They're great, yes.
That is
okay.
really cool.
So we're gonna start off now with 1.5 pounds of beef, okay? This is lean ground beef. You don't want a whole lot of fat in it because what happens is if you get the regular grind beef, a lot of times once you get the loaf all ready to go and all the fat drains out of it, it shrinks up to about that big. So we want it to be a little bit, regular size, right? We want it to be the size that you want when you put it in the pan. Okay, so we're gonna start things off. We've got the beef, the 1.5 pounds of beef. And I'm just trying to figure out what we want to go with next. So I think what we'll start with is the ketchup. I'm not sure how much you want to throw in, whatever you want.
This is back to Shaq's good old measurements.
Exactly. So we're gonna say
a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Maybe
okay.
Maybe a 1/4 cup of ketchup in there. Sure,
something like
why
that.
not? All right. Same with Worcester sauce. Worcester sauce.
This ingredient always amazes me because it goes into a lot of things, and there's just something about it. Like you notice it when it's not in there.
It's called. What's the word? Is it called umami? Umami, I think it is. Whereas it is another taste that you have, another kind of a sense that you have. Like steak and mushrooms and that kind of thing, kind of a heavier, meatier taste.
Yeah.
That's what Worcester sauce does.
I love it.
And why do they just call it Worcester sauce? No, they call it Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire
sauce. Calls it Worcester sauce.
Yeah. Oh, well. Say it 5 times real fast.
Worcester sauce, Worcester sauce, Worcester sauce, Worcester sauce.
I don't know.
I don't know either. All right, here we go. So we're going to throw a little of that in. I'm not sure how much. Again, maybe a couple of tablespoons.
Can you really put too much of that in? I guess you can, but I find I put a little more than I usually have to.
You don't want to put too much in because it is quite salty too. And also, that's another thing too. With the ketchup, there's salt in the ketchup.
Right.
There's salt in the Worcestershire sauce. And if you use seasoned breadcrumbs, there'll be salt in that as well. So when you're putting salt and pepper in, make sure you put in just a little bit of salt. And if you have to salt it later when you're eating it, then that's when you do it.
Well, that's when you got some serious salt issues. That's if you have to salt afterwards as well.
Right. Okay, now something else I like to throw in is a little bit of Italian seasoning. Again, Italian seasoning you can buy at the grocery store in the packages, and it's got everything in it like thyme, oregano, it's got basil in it as well too. So anything that's kind of an Italian seasoning, it's all in there and it's mixed together and it's dried. So we're gonna throw that in. Again, just a couple of maybe a tablespoon of that.
Right.
Breadcrumbs. It's about 3/4 cup of breadcrumbs. We're just gonna toss that in. And an egg. The egg is used to bind it all together. It's nature's glue.
Yep.
And just toss it in like that. And we also have a little bit of milk, and we're gonna throw that in just for moisture because what it does, it combines with the breadcrumbs and it also does kind of a glue thing, so it binds it all together. So we're gonna put a little bit of milk in as well too. Is that it? Have I got everything in there? Oh yes, we've got to put that in. But you know what? We're going to put the onions in just a couple of minutes because I'm going to. The bacon, of course.
Whoa!
Man, we can't forget about that. Okay, so we're going to throw in a little bit of bacon. This is already cooked bacon. Okay, so throw that in once it's been cooked. So we're going to toss that in.
I still can't believe I've never thought about the bacon idea. I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. Okay, so bacon's in. Now, the fun starts. Get your rubber gloves, or if you don't want to wear rubber gloves, you don't have to. But I like to wear rubber gloves because your hands get pretty messy when you're doing this. But you know what? It's just like a Zen thing, you know?
Yeah.
When you get your hands in there and you start mixing everything around. Okay, let's get my gloves in there.
Wow.
Okay.
It'll take you longer to get the clothes on than actually mix the stuff.
I know. All right, hang on a sec. We're just about there. No, I'm not a doctor. This is not.
You're scaring me with those white gloves.
This is not an examination.
Uh-oh.
We are mixing a bunch of meat. All right. There, rubber gloves are on.
Okay, we are prepared. You're going in?
Going in, hands in, here we go. And just a nice big, oh. See? Look at that, it just all goes in there. The best mixing tool you could ever have is your two hands. And you just mix all that together. And you can even smell how good it's, oh boy. Just keep on mixing away, mixing away, mixing away. Okay,
so
look
relaxing.
at that, hey, see?
Wow.
Like I said, it's just like stress-free. Relieve all of your stress by just mixing a bunch of ground beef with rubber gloves on. Okay, now I've got an issue. I've got raw meat on my hands, and I've got to take the onions and put them in here. That's okay.
Do you
I
need
don't
it?
care.
I mean,
No.
I could put.
I'm gonna just
the
do this
guitar
and then
down.
get rid of the Oh, great.
Oh well, everything's contaminated now.
Now it's all contaminated. That's okay. The pan.
Don't touch that cheese. Do not.
Once the gloves are off, then we're okay. But I'm gonna put the onions and the garlic in here, and then immediately get rid of this and this, and it's going in the sink. Okay.
We're watching.
All right.
Okay.
Now, I'm going in again. Here we go. No, keep going, keep going, keep going. Just mush it around. Get it all mushed in. And it has been officially mushed. All right.
Wow. I'm glad I can add to this. I don't know what you're doing actually. I'm glad I could be here with you today.
You
Shaq.
know what you can do now? Now that I don't want to contaminate anything else with my meaty hands.
You don't want to contaminate the tap.
So I want to take this, I'm going to put it over here, and I'm going to come over here with my elbows, pick up the magic pan with my elbows.
I'd help, but this is way too entertaining for me.
And then, you know what? We're going to come back, and we're going to fill up the tin here, the meatloaf tin, with all that. Okay, I'm Cooked with Shaq. We're coming back right after this. Okay, we're back on Cooked with Shaq. It is the bacon cheeseburger meatloaf we are making today, and we've got everything pretty much mixed up in the old meatloaf bowl here. The problem is I forgot to put a little salt in. Okay, so now I've got to take this. This is only happening for the meatloaf, so don't worry about it. Even though we got meatloafy kind of hands, I'm just going to toss in a little bit of salt.
Just a bit, yeah.
Just a little bit of seasoning. Just like, it's slipping all over the place. What a mess. Okay, that's good. All right, now we got to get back in there again. Here we go, and in we go. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now that's mixed. All right. Wow.
Whew.
Now here comes the next part of this. We're gonna put some of the meatloaf into the meatloaf pan. Okay, so we're gonna squish it all down. This is about as fun as when we were doing our sausage. Remember our sausage show?
Yeah, the sausage.
That was fun.
That was a good sausage party.
That was a heck of a sausage party.
That was
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, keep squishing that in there.
Now, do you fill it right to the top?
Well, see, here's the deal. We got to stuff a bunch of cheese in there,
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's right. Okay.
So what we're going to do there is, I think what we're going to do is this. We have to kind of build the house a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to put kind of a, what do you call this? A trough down the middle. All right. And then we're going to kind of build the sides up a little bit. Man, you almost have to be a contractor to do this.
Well, I was going to say, like,
see, look at this.
This is quite the design work.
Okay, I thought this was going to be easy. This might be a little bit tougher for some people. Okay,
I don't think my mom does it this way. You're right. You definitely, it's different.
This is different.
It's very different.
Okay, now we have a little bit on top here like this. And we bring it over like that. And a little bit more over here.
Oh, see, I know what you're doing. This is kind of like how you made those hamburgers at one time. You
right,
cheese in them, all those hamburgers.
That's
so good.
Exactly, the inside-out burgers
yes,
is what we
that's
did.
what it was called.
Okay, so now, all right, I'm gonna have to lose these rubber gloves
I think
because
they
I
need to go.
gotta get into the cheese.
Yeah.
Okay, so rubber gloves are going in the garbage. All right. There, perfectly clean hands now, okay?
Woo.
So now we're gonna go into the, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this and I'm going to use that to make, there, see, look at that. Makes a nice little trough right down the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now we take the cheese, we just drop it in there. Lots of cheese. Squish it down. Just keep squishing it. And then what we do we have enough cheese in there? Should we get more?
Oh,
sure,
you can always put more in there.
There it is. There we go. Squish it all the way in there. There. Now, take the rest of the mixture. We plunk it on top. There, that made life a whole lot easier. Just use a spoon.
Yeah. These gloves and
fancy gloves and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, it doesn't look like much, but once it's done, it is going to be awesome. So get all that kind of worked in together so that it's all just one piece, right? Just get all that in there like that. I think we got it.
Yeah.
I think we have it.
Looking good.
There it is. There it is. The bacon cheeseburger meatloaf. And now we're going to stick it in the oven. Okay, so that's done. We're also going to come back in just a couple of minutes too, because we have the glaze that we're going to put on it. But first off, let's get this into the oven at 350 degrees for about 45 minutes. Then we're going to take it out, glaze the top, and put it in for another 15 minutes. So hour in total baking time at 350 for this particular meatloaf. We're coming back, we're gonna do the glaze, and then this thing should be ready to go, and we're gonna be eating big time. This is gonna be awesome. It's the bacon cheeseburger meatloaf cooked with Shaq. Whew, come on back.
Sponsored in part by the Saskatchewan pork producers. Pick pork any meal, anytime. Naturally lean, packed with protein and versatile. For recipes, information, and more, visit saskpork.com or visit us on Facebook. #PickPork.
Welcome everybody back to Cooked with Shaq. Harrison, are you ready to have some meatloaf, my friend?
Oh, I have been waiting and waiting.
Well, you have to wait a little bit longer because what we have to do is we're going to be making a glaze. We're making a cheeseburger bacon meatloaf today. And now what we have to do is a glaze that we're going to be putting onto the meatloaf, and then you have to put the meatloaf back in the oven for another 15 minutes. But we're going to see what it looks like in just a couple of minutes. Starting off with, for the glaze, again, ketchup. All right, we just want to squirt a whole bunch of ketchup into a pot. Just like that. Just keep on squeezing it. All right, very simple. Then we take a couple of teaspoons of brown sugar. That goes in just like that. Then we take some more Worcestershire sauce. And again, all we have to do is just a couple of squirts of that in there. That should be good enough, just like that. Now, we want to put a little bit of apple cider vinegar in, but it's got to be just a little bit. We're talking about maybe a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. You don't want too much in, or else it gets a little bit too much acidity in there. This is just to give it a nice kick. Okay, that's very simple. That's all you have to do right there. And then you don't have to add salt, you don't have to add pepper or anything, because all those seasonings are already in the ketchup and the Worcestershire sauce. And you have a nice little barbecue sauce glaze. Now what you want to do is heat that up just a little bit, incorporate all those flavors. Okay, so that's done, and it's starting to heat up now. So now let's get the meatloaf out of, where's my mitts? There we go. Let's get the meatloaf out of the oven. Take a look and see what happened with this meatloaf. Here we go.
The cheese oozing out of it?
Well, it looks like it's very cheesy. Oh, but it looks awesome. Check that out.
Right on.
There's some cheese oozing.
It didn't shrink that much.
No, and the reason why it didn't shrink is because we're using lean ground beef, right? You can use the extra lean if you want, but lean ground beef is good enough. The regular, you don't want to use it for meatloaves, because what it does is it does shrink down to nothing. So, all right, so now what we have is our glaze. And just, you can see the heat starting to come through it now. Now, if you want, you can add a little bit of hot sauce too, if you want an extra little kick to it. Now, what you do is you take that glaze. Actually, you know what'd be easier?
Yeah, just
pour it right on there. Just pour it all on there.
Now, I've actually made a glaze similar to this. Probably not, it's not gonna be as good as yours.
Oh, come on.
But what I've done, because I love mashed potatoes with meatloaf.
Oh, yes.
So I always make a little bit of extra glaze, and you pour that on the mashed potatoes.
That's awesome. Yes, if you can do that,
gotta do that.
Sure. That's, a garlic mashed potato with this is the way to go. Yes.
Well, you're not gonna whip that up for me either?
Well, you know what? We're just gonna go with the meatloaf this time around.
All right.
Because we're running out of time.
Okay.
But we'll have the mashed potatoes next time. Okay. So now what you want to do is throw the meatloaf back in the oven for another 15 minutes and let the glaze kind of just ooze and soak into the meatloaf. Look at, okay, I'm just taking the meatloaf out, and look at that cheese just oozing out the side. Is that crazy or what?
That's unreal, man.
Okay, now I'm going to attempt to actually cut this and see if we can get a nice big chunk. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be falling apart. I can just see it. But there's a nice big chunk right there. And we're gonna take it like that. And we're gonna put it over like this, and look at that, just oozing cheese. Is that crazy? What?
I think I'm gonna have to change it up when I make meatloaf next time.
And you know what? Watch this.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
We're gonna take the glaze from a height. Let's take it from a height.
Yeah.
And just kind of splash it on all over the place. Look at that. Well, there you have it. That is one healthy-looking meatloaf. I'll tell you right now. Look at all that cheese, and there's bacon in there. It is the bacon cheeseburger meatloaf. You gotta try this. It is so awesome. And thanks again to Jordan Welburn. His new album, Reach Out. Check it out if you can. He's got some great music. You've been hearing it throughout the episode of Cook with Shaq for today. So thanks very much, everybody, for joining us. Try this meatloaf. Look at that. Look at the cheese coming out the side. Oh, it's just beautiful. Cook with Shaq. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Sponsored in part by the Saskatchewan Pork Producers. Pick pork any meal, anytime. Naturally lean, packed with protein and versatile. For recipes, information, and more, visit saskpork.com or visit us on Facebook. #PickPork.